Well, good morning and welcome to Corona Fits here in Blackstone, the center of the world. But then you too are at the center of the world. So this morning I've been writing about the Urban Buddhist. Usually my day starts with some idea I start writing about on Facebook, and it just kind of grows and grows, and then finally I say, well, I want to talk about it, so I'm going to talk about it. So Buddhism is historically is like yogurt. Now, yogurt, there's a plain yogurt. And what makes yogurt yogurt is that there is a living bacteria. I mean, if you ever made yogurt, you would have to get something from some plain yogurt you've got and put that into the milk in the little heater. But basically, there has to be a transmission of yogurt bacteria from the old to the new, and then your new yogurt will grow, and then you add flavor to it. So Buddhism is like the living bacteria of yogurt, and it goes to different cultures. It started in northern India in the culture of yoga and Hinduism, and then it got exported to Tibet, took on the flavor of Tibetan culture. Then it went to Southeast Asia, took on the flavor of Southeast Asia. Then it went to China, took on the flavor of China. Then it went to Japan, took on the flavor of Japan, and became Zen Buddhism. So you've got all these different flavors of the same culture. And now it's come to America. It came to America. The first seeds were in the 50s with Alan Watts and a few other teachers, and it then flowered it got heated up in the 60s, and now there is a new Buddhism growing. It's called Urban Buddhism, but it's an American flavor, an urban flavor, a modern flavor. But the Dharma, you see, is the living bacteria that makes all of these different Buddhas a living teaching. When there is no bacteria, no Dharma, it just becomes a flavor. And it doesn't do you, there's no transubstantiation. Transubstantiation. The Catholics use that in their Mass, in that the Mass is the actual transubstantiation of the wafer, the bread, and the wine into the flesh and body of Christ. It really is Christ in the flesh. That's a part of the Catholic doctrine. But that idea is alchemy. Now, alchemy was based on, I'm jumping around, but hang in with me. Alchemy was the science of the Middle Ages, where it's almost alchemy is a metaphor now, but it means taking the base metal, what's given, the base metal, and transmuting it into gold. That the base metal, the worthless, the useless, the stuff you find in the landfill, the discarded stuff, the junk, is transmuted into value, gold, you see. So that's kind of like a recipe that we all use. We all experience it, when we find something that's thrown away and we turn it into something else. MacGyver is alchemy. He's in a fix. Remember the TV show? He's in a fix, so he uses what's given, some junk lying around, something useless, and he turns it into a tool to get out of a fix. Something that's useless into something that's useless. And this essentially is the Buddha Dharma. The Buddha Dharma, Dharma means teaching. The teaching of the Buddha transmutes suffering into joy, or not being okay into being okay. Now, the okayness of the Buddha Dharma is not just, I'm okay now that Corona is gone and I can go out and everything, now I'm okay. But when Corona was here, I'm not okay. See, the okayness of the Buddha Dharma is not dependent upon the conditions or the flavor of the world, you see. But we're kind of like in our culture, the modern comfort culture, is that when things are not comfortable, you're not okay. But if things are comfortable and everything is okay, you're okay. I'm happy now. But then suddenly conditions change, a storm comes, something happens, the washing machine breaks down, whatever. Oh, now I'm not okay. This shouldn't be. Now I've got to get back to being okay. Because not being okay should not be. But with Buddha Dharma, it's okay not being okay. You turn the not okay into the okay. The not being okay, that is dependent upon conditions, is transmuted into the okayness, no matter what conditions are. If Corona is here, if Corona is not here, you're still okay. This is the great liberation. This is the great liberation. And it's also the mystical teachings of Jesus, but we don't usually look at the teachings of Jesus as a Dharma. We look at it as a belief system. But you see, Buddhism is not a belief system. Buddhism is a practice, a recipe that you apply to your everyday life and make yogurt. You see, you take the living bacteria of the Buddha Dharma and you put it in your everyday life, everyday mind, and you make a living yogurt. Yoga, Buddha, Dharma, okayness. I'm okay even when the world goes to pot. I'm okay when the weather changes. I'm okay with Corona. I'm okay. Of course, I would like it for it to be different, you see, but I'm still okay even if it's not different. I'm okay no matter what. And it doesn't mean you can't change things to be better. It just means that you're okay if things change or don't change. So okayness then becomes your living Dharma. You become the living Dharma of being okay no matter what, you see. And that is a transformative way of being in the world, because our culture conditions us to being not okay when conditions are not okay. So we have to buy something to make us okay. We got to go somewhere to make us okay. Got to get some entertainment to make us okay. Different relationship, different job to make us okay, you see. But to be okay no matter what, kind of like pulls the rug out of our whole economy. You're okay with what you got. People before, my uncle, who died many years ago at 99, was in the First World War. But you grew up in a culture where you'd never throw anything. It was kind of like he never bought anything new until what he had was worn totally out. So he kept the same old car, the same tools, the same TV, everything, until it was finally broken and he had to get something new, He was okay with that. But this whole idea of being okay with what you got, no matter what happens, you're okay, has been lost, you see. So the Urban Buddhist brings back this Dharma, this teaching of okayness with no matter what happens, you see. And that is a liberation when you discover that. And you can only discover it, the transmission of Buddha Dharma happens spontaneously. It's not like, oh, there's the Buddha. It's like, I know now. I know I'm okay. I know what to do. I know how to fix this. I know what the answer is. I know. So the Buddha Dharma is knowing. I know that I'm okay even though everything has gone to hell. I know how to get out of this. I know what to use. I know who you are. I see you. I know what to do. I know who to marry. I know that I need to get divorced. I know, you see. So this knowing, fundamental knowing, awakening of knowing, when before we were in doubt and confusion, yada, yada, back and forth, feedback loop and microphone and the amplifier, wow, the mind going caught between the Scylla and the Charybdis, back and forth, the ping pong game of the mind. All of that, you see, ends when you know. Knowing, the Buddha Dharma is knowing that is action. I know what to do. When I know what to do, I do it. There's no problem. There's no restriction. There's no resistance. There's no doubt. All of the energy that went into doubt and confusion and worry and how do I get to be okay, all of this self-doubt and self-blame, he did it, no, I did it, somebody did it, I don't know who, all of that, you see, goes away when you know. When you know, you just do it. You're liberated. All of the energy wasted in the mind now is focused in knowing and the doing. The knowing and the doing are one in the Buddha Dharma. Thanks for dropping in. See you at the next Corona Fits.